your girl Sarah.
And Maya.
And we're charmed and dangerous.
You know, because we're charming.
And we're dangerous. Right over here.
Yeah.
On this sheet.
Over here.
In case you didn't know.
And over there. Like over here and over there.
Yeah, for real.
Like we both.
It's interchangeable. It's not
You
like
know?
one is charming, the other one is dangerous.
No. Like
it
we're
really,
both
but...
charming and dangerous.
So if you look at the title of this video, you already know what we're gonna get into today. We're talking about Virgos and our top 6 tips on how you can evolve to be your best selves. But before we get into the video, the juice, the sauce, as we like to call it, we would love it if you subscribe down below. Well, we hope you already like us from this little bit, but if you need to watch the whole video to decide whether you like us, I'm just gonna give you a spoiler. You will. So just subscribe and now on to the video. Okay, so what's your number 1 tip?
So my first
How can Virgos
tip,
evolve?
yes, for Virgo is learn when to give feedback or ask if the person even wants it, okay? Listen, I love a good Virgo read. Do not get me wrong, I love a good Virgo read. But sometimes I'm not in the place, nor are other people in the place to hear this or get this type of read, nor can I do anything about it, you know what I mean? And then Virgo, your words are just really cruel, you know? Like, so
this is coming from a Sagittarius. So
right,
listen up.
Right, too blunt for a Sagittarius, that's saying something, you know? But it's true. I feel like there's a time and a place for everything, and if somebody can't actually act on it, you're really just being mean by like pointing it out at the time, you know, and making them feel stress and anxiety for something that they may not have even been feeling before. Just make sure you're picking good times to like talk about it, or even better, ask somebody if they're ready for this type of feedback, if they're in a place to hear this. You know what I mean? I feel like Virgos give their unsolicited advice a lot, and y'all give really great advice, but sometimes people need to be in a place to actually hear it.
Virgos, you don't know how to read the room.
No.
I feel like you guys don't know how to read the room. I know the intent behind it. You guys are such helpful people. You're always trying to make yourself better, so you assume everyone else wants to be better too.
Yes.
Which is why they're always trying to help. But at the end of the day, other people deal with emotions differently than you. That might make someone really emotional in public because you are telling them about themselves. So read the room.
Yes, and I feel like sometimes their delivery is just so like logical and matter of fact. If somebody's not ready to hear that, it totally fucks them up, you know what I mean? Like they do get super emotional, they'll have an outburst and they're like, the Virgo's sitting there like, oh shit, like what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? Like why am I always hurting people? And it's because you're saying things at the wrong time. Like what you're saying isn't necessarily wrong, you know what I mean? But like learn the timing of it.
It's also a problem because I feel like sometimes Virgos don't know how to deal with other people that are having emotional outbursts.
Yeah.
So it's like you're the one that caused them to be feeling this way with your, you know what I mean, judgments and honesty. And now they're left feeling that way and you can't even console them or like help them out because emotions sometimes freak you out and make you uncomfortable.
Okay, so what's your first point on how a Virgo can evolve?
All right, my first tip for you Virgos is try using your heart to make certain decisions in life. I get it, logic has never really steered you wrong, Virgo, but sometimes your heart knows things that your mind does not. And I know that's weird for you to think about because you don't really ever think about your heart or like what it wants to do. You're always thinking so logically. But the thing is, although practicality makes you feel safe, there are certain people in this world that will hold your emotions very close to their heart and protect them. And in order to meet those types of people, you have to be willing to follow your heart. I feel like sometimes you guys get caught up in the, well, it's because of this, or that person's like this because of this. You're not really allowing yourself to open up to these people. You're already casting these judgments before you can even get to know them, you know? You're almost like suppressing yourself of having these deep emotional connections because you're letting your brain lead the way all the time. I'm not saying stop using your brain. That's not what I'm saying. But in some situations, it's important to use your heart.
Yeah, because you'll talk yourself out of everything, Virgo. Like, I really feel like you'll talk yourself out of things that you really, really want to do. So yeah, definitely let another emotion take over sometimes. And I feel like because they already are so cautious, people on the reciprocating end, they're usually waiting, Virgo, for you to reach out to do something like with your heart to show that you care, right? To show that you're passionate about it. So like, do that for them, you know, meet them halfway. Because I feel like sometimes, you know, even like as a Virgo partner, sometimes it's like, you know, we want to see this emotion from you, you know, and we're always giving it to you. So it's like, come on, like
give something back.
Give it back, give it back.
I know it's scary and I know it's not something you're used to, but it is very fulfilling. And how else will you know that you found the right person unless you share that part of yourself with them, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. And it's like, I feel like sometimes they're scared to share those parts with people though, because they're embarrassed of it. But it's like, people who really rock with you are gonna love that part about you, you know? So like, don't be afraid to lead with them. I feel like your first point goes really well with my second point, which is, Virgos, I want you to break out of your comfort zone to build your confidence. I feel like Virgos are like always trying to be perfect, you know what I mean? They're always striving for perfection, which is ultimately hurting their self-confidence. Like, you give yourself no space to be silly or to like fuck up, you know what I mean? Or to even really grow in front of people. And I feel like you're just so comfortable to sticking to your routine that works for you, you know what I mean? But if you want more from life, you have to be willing to like kind of imagine that the grass is greener on the other side. And don't be afraid to like be silly and make a fool of yourself, because that's when you grow and like new experiences can come and you start to build that self-confidence, you know, because you're not always doing the same things. Yeah. You know?
I feel like that literally is so important for Virgo, because you have the chance to learn about a bunch of new things in life. But, and I know you're interested in it, because Virgos are super interested in learning about new subjects, new people, whatever it may be. But sometimes I feel like because you guys are scared of stepping outside of your comfort zone, you hold yourself back. Even though I know you have that excitement in you to try something new and like learn something new for the first time again, experience something new for the first time, you hold yourselves back because you're scared of what might happen. Who cares? That's life, literally. And guess what? Sometimes you might get into something and you might not become obsessed with it. You know, I feel like Virgos love getting obsessed with shit. So when they have these 3 things that they're obsessed with, they stick by it, you know?
Like,
it's
why
like,
would I do something
it's like,
else?
why not try something else? Maybe you won't like it. Maybe it won't be as cool as your original 3 things that you've liked since you were 5. But at least you're trying, and at least you're putting yourself out there. Okay, so my second tip on how you Virgos can evolve into the best versions of yourselves. Instead of thinking about the worst case scenario, learn to stop thinking about the final outcome altogether. You know, I could just say, start thinking about the best case scenario. And like, I know who I'm talking to, I know my audience. It's really not easy for you guys to be happy-go-lucky, you know, you're Virgo. You tend to be a little realistic, pessimistic. But at least just stop thinking about the final outcome altogether. You know, when you learn to do that, you get out of your own head. And I feel like sometimes your own head can be a very, very scary place for Virgos, because you guys get obsessed really quickly and then you start going down the rabbit hole and there's almost no way to come back up because you're just so deep in it. And that's just no way to live life. You know what I mean? A lot of times when you guys are overthinking, you forget to live life. And at the end of the day, we're here to live. We're not here to crack the code of something. You know what I mean? Like, you're here to live. Like, yes, you can still sit here and think about this one problem for 3 hours and think about how you're gonna prepare yourself for every single outcome in case it happens, but that's still 3 hours of your life that's been wasted over something that you can't control. I want you guys to be realistic about the things that you can control. And this is coming from a Scorpio. Like, I'm a control freak. But once you learn to let go of that need for control, things can finally just fall into place for you, you know? When you get over this headspace of being obsessed with shit, you can finally start thriving in life. I feel like, I know y'all are like us Scorpios, where you can just sit in your room all day and think about one thing and then wake up and do it again, because that's what's been on your mind and you're not done thinking about it yet. But what kind of life is that? You know what I mean? Like, don't you miss your friends? Don't you miss your partner, family, whatever it may be? But you are so stuck in your own head that you're letting all these other relationships go to shit because you just can't control your mind. You know what I mean? Sometimes, as being control freaks, you guys are control freaks, but you can't control your mind. Your mind just sometimes just takes you.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's so funny, and I feel like, I love Virgos, I feel like you guys must get really frustrated with this, because it's like, you do want to control everything, but you have to know that there's some things in life that you can't control. You know what I mean? And I feel like they really stress themselves out trying to control the things that they know they can't control. And it's like, stop that, because you're worrying yourself and not being able to enjoy moments with people. You know what I mean? And moments even with yourself. Like, why are you worrying about something that's a week away when you have a party that you're at right now? You know what I mean? Or you have a task that you need to do right now. Like, focus on that task, and then move to the next thing. I feel like sometimes they're thinking so far ahead, it like hinders you from appreciating what's happening right now.
I mean, I hate to sound like a cliche, but the present is all you have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, my final point on how you Virgos can learn to be your most evolved self is to become a master of your own mind. Like Sarah said, I feel like, you know, they try and control lots of things, but they aren't really always control of their own minds and like their thoughts. Virgos are very obsessive thinkers, but anyone can turn that obsessive behavior off. Like you can teach yourself how to turn that off. And I think meditating for at least like 10 minutes a day would be really important for you guys, because I'm sure that's the only minutes of rest that you will otherwise be getting for yourself, you know? And I feel like somebody who naturally sees themselves as like worrywarts, you know, you have to make time to find your like inner peace and like your inner sense of calm. Like it's really, really essential for y'all to do that. So become a master of your mind by like meditating for at least maybe starting with 5 minutes and like growing up and up, because you guys need to get in control of all those thoughts that you have.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny because Virgos are earth signs, which means they're grounded, but sometimes I feel like not all of you guys are grounded.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are sometimes, your head is up in the air, and I don't know if it's because, you know, the fact that Mercury rules over you, so you're always thinking instead of being grounded. But I need you guys to harness that earth energy that you have and ground yourselves so you can finally just live life instead of living in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so my final tip for how you Virgos can be your best selves. Stop holding back when it comes to expressing your weirdness.
Yeah.
Okay, Virgo? Virgos are quirky little nerds. Like, they hate that I said this about them because they swear they're so suave.
Oh
like,
my god.
They're like so quiet and like, oh, who's that mysterious woman or man sitting in the corner? I see you, you little weirdo. In the best way. You know what I mean? With
love.
With love. Like, I love how quirky you guys are. The thing is, Virgos are shy, but they also hate being judged. So they hide certain parts of themselves and pretend to be the quiet types, you know what I mean? Which we all know you guys are not. You guys are far from the quiet type. You guys love talking. Y'all love chatting.
Y'all love to talk
about anything. So the thing is, I want you guys to get comfortable expressing yourselves like you normally do with your friends around new people, because you never know who you can attract by being your real self. I know it's hard. I know when you're out in public, you'd rather just be the one that's observing. I get it. I'm the same way too. But sometimes you just have to put yourself in the middle of all of it and see what you can do. Like, you have no idea what kind of social skills you have unless you actually start showing people who you really are, instead of just taking the easy way out and being the quiet one.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, 100%. And I feel like I've seen Virgos who aren't 100% like owning their weirdness, and when you're hanging out with them, it's almost like they start to do it and then they stop themselves, you know what I mean? And being in that situation, I'm just like, oh my god, come on, just like be you, let it out, like let that free flag fly.
For real. And I don't know if maybe other people don't notice, but yeah, I definitely notice it too. I'm like, just come on, just be you. Like I'm seeing that you want to say things, but you're holding yourself back for some reason.
And like, for who and for why?
Who cares? Who cares? I know how it is. You know, you guys are known to be judgmental, which means you probably judge yourself the most. Yeah. But it all starts with the fact that you guys just need to stop shaming yourselves for being human.
All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching our episode on how Virgos can be their most evolved selves, the best selves. We would love it if you commented down below on your thoughts on how Virgos can evolve, especially if you're a Virgo. We want to hear how you've up-leveled your life, okay? And if you didn't know, we have a podcast, and on this podcast, we discuss the question that we post here, and we get into it deeper. And on our podcast, we talk about toxic Twitter, some of our favorite TV shows. You know, we give our favorite tea on there.
We love critiquing.
We do.
It's a Virgo season, but we always love to critique.
We do. We bring it. We bring the truth as a Sagittarius and a Scorpio duo. Okay. Sometimes you can't handle the truth.
It's true. We also talk about our toxic, you know what I mean, past relationships.
We do. And we talk about healing ourselves, you know what I mean, all that good stuff. Trauma from those toxic relationships.
The funny laughter that's not funny.
It's like,
Go watch.
Yeah.
Go listen to the podcast.
Listen to the podcast and you'll know. Okay, so are you ready for the question that we will discuss in next week's podcast?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, what is the toxic habit that Virgo really needs to let go of the most?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know?
Just
okay.
one? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I love you guys.
Yeah. Go listen to the podcast.
Yes.
It's gonna be good.
Yes, it goes live every Wednesday, and we post our YouTube every Monday and Thursday. We're gonna link our socials somewhere around here. Make sure you give us a follow on there, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and got to the end of this video and you loved us. Okay, do it. And we hope you have a great rest of your week. Do it good.